Good morning, everyone. I'm really excited that I finally have made the decision to go ahead and try to take a lot of the stuff that I write about or I do media clips about, which are usually just 4 minutes, and make them into short videos that you can watch and learn a little bit more in depth about what I was talking about. So today I'm going to start with ADHD in kids. Over this past weekend, I did a short segment on the story that came out about the New England Journal of Medicine that basically said, do kids with August birthdays have greater rates of ADHD? So that caught the headlines. However, people were, putting in comments and kind of either confused or irritated and saying like, really? Now the birth month matters? So I want to break that down for you. Let me explain this. So ADHD is characterized by 3 things: impulsivity, so lack of impulse control, inattention, lack of ability to sustain focus, and hyperactivity. And so that's increased motor movement in kids. So what specifically this was talking about is kindergartners were studied and have been. So this is one really large, almost 500,000 kids they studied. This was a really large study. However, there have been smaller ones that have come back with the same kind of information. So basically they looked at kindergartners and they studied them, and they saw a pattern that kids with August birthdays in school districts that have September 1st cutoffs had a 33% greater likelihood of being diagnosed as ADHD. So what we're really talking about is sometimes what we're doing is we're comparing kindergartners, but sometimes there can be almost upwards of a year difference between kindergartners. And what you would expect of a child who is 5 years, 10 months versus 5 years, 1 month is really different. And when you are young like that, those couple of months can make a really large difference in your impulse control, in your ability to sustain attention, and even in just your motor movement. Your level of being able to sit still in class is really different for a 5-year-old than a 5-year, 10-month-old. So that's really what they were talking about. So to put it in context, in the United States, there are currently 22 states that have a September 1st cutoff. Outside of that, there are all different kinds of cutoffs, October, even January 1st cutoffs. So those states, things can look really different. I was asked about kind of what age do I think ADHD should be diagnosed at? And so really, I think a best standard is to look at kids being diagnosed and assessed more fairly would be 7 years old. So that allows for that whole kindergarten year and some catch up. It allows developmentally to really be able to assess whether the child, compared to their same aged peers, not their same grade peers, but same age peers, if they really do have less ability to sustain focus and attention. If you're wondering about how common this is, there are anywhere from 5 up to 11%. So the DSM-5, what we use to diagnose all different kinds of psychiatric disorders, says about 5% of children are diagnosed with ADHD. And then the CDC can have stats that range all the way up to about 11%. So it's one of the most commonly diagnosed neurodevelopmental issues in children, and this is just one bit of information to help you decide whether this is something that you should look into for your own child if you have some concerns. If the preschool teachers or kindergarten teachers are saying some concerns, my response would be, let's do a little bit of a watch and wait, and in the meantime, in the waiting period, give the child some tools to be able to get their wiggles out and be able to sustain attention, maybe take a look in class, see how long they're required to sit still or focus on a task, and make sure that that's geared toward your child's age. So I hope that's helpful, and I look forward to sharing some more light on some of the other topics that I do. Thanks so much.